Hi everybody, welcome back to the Carver's Wood Shop. I had to redo this tape, but that's okay. This is our next project here. We're going to do the snowman with a top hat with the little holly greenery, and we're going to do it with a scarf. You can do it without or with it. It doesn't really make that much difference. And then what we want to do is we want to go ahead and start with the hat just like we did with the leprechaun. It's the same. It's different in some aspects, but it's the format's the same. So what I'm going to do is we're going to. I had this too close, so I didn't have room for the eyes. So what you want to do is you want to stretch this out. You want to go about 3/4 of an inch or a 1/2 inch at least down. Okay, down to make your top mark. And then when you bring it down, you're bringing it like a small little skinny thin S. Okay. Bring that down a little bit more if you want. Make it more curvy if you want. And then back here, this is an extra piece I have. We're going to be cutting that off anyway. Right back here, you want to go, and then you want to bring it down just a tad. Just maybe 1/8 of an inch. And your block, let me explain, your block is going to be 1.5 by 1.5 by 2.5. This is from the ornament series where I'm doing all these different projects on the pay-per-view right now with the ornament heads. Everybody seems to really love them. So this is, and they love it with the eyes. So that's what I'm going to do. You can do it with the eyes or without, but all the eyes are basically the same. They're just placed a little different sometimes. But what you want to do is you want to taper it. You see it's a little bit tapered, about halfway up. You want to just taper it until you get about 1 inch to 1 inch on the top. Now if you really want to be picky here, you can go ahead and put a line across the top. And we're going to do this anyway. And we're going to round off a little bit. Just take the corners off. This won't be as distinct as the leprechaun. The leprechaun was a lot more more rounder, like a dowel. But we just want to basically, and there's going to be flat spots, okay, on each side. What we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and put our last. So you put a mark here, put a mark down here, and this is about 3/4. Well, about 3/4 of an inch up. All right. This one should come down just a tad. Let's bring this one down. So you're going to have a little bit of a curvature coming up and around. A little more room here because what I want to do is place the nose in there so I have an idea if there's enough room for the eyes before we do any cutting. So once you get that done, and once you come down here and you bring it down a little bit further, you're just going to connect your dots. And what I do is a little bit of a curvature here, not much. And this can go up a little bit, that's okay. You'll see that it goes up a little bit here in the corner. There's a little bit of curvature. And you're going to come over here and do the same thing. You can go straight across, and then we can get that curvature in later if you want. But that's roughly what it should look like, all right, all the way around. So what you're going to do also, when we figure out where to put the nose and that we have enough room for the eyeballs, we're going to go over here and we're going to go down maybe, 1/4 of an inch at least. All right, we're going to put the nose, we're going to just do a round. This is going to be his nose, or his carrot nose. Right? We're going to measure on both sides like this. Okay, that's good. I do a lot of measuring with my finger and stuff, so it'll be very, very easy to do that. All right, so all right. So when you look at it this way, we're going to curve this up just a little bit more upward. All right, so that I'm going to go on the top of that black line. And a little bit up here too, just a tad. This is give me plenty of room for the eyeballs to go in, because the eyeballs are going to come right next to it, So I want to make sure I have enough room. I think having a big nose, big eyes makes a piece look very cute. So that's what I usually strive for. So let's start with cutting this. Let me just sharpen my tool here for a little bit. And I'll do it with this one. Hang on just a second. Alright, now, what we're going to do here, before we start that, we're going to do a second row right above it, okay? And you want it kind of thick, like maybe not quite a fourth, maybe 3/8 of an inch or so. And you want to kind of go all the way around, just like we did with the other project. Alright. Alright, and this can come up a little bit. There we go. And we're going to come right down this way. You want to make sure you have plenty of room. Alright, so that's what we're looking to do. So this is the brim of the hat, you know, this portion here. And then the nose, and so we have everything where we want it to be right now. So the first cut we're going to do is we're going to go right in here, and there's a little bit of a slope there, okay? Not real deep, but it's a little bit of a slope. So we're just going to do a little bit at an angle. Alright, we're going to push it in there, and we're going to take that corner out. You're going to do the next one, and you're going to follow the path of your line. You're not going to do it this way, you're going to do it this way. Just be mindful of how that line is going. You're going to do each corner. Okay, this will come up more on its own. Yeah, that's pretty well straight down there, so just cut across. And then here we're going to cut across again. Alright, so make sure that those are all out. Now I love using the V tool to outline it, because then you still have to go back and do a stop cut. So we're going to take the V tool, and we're just going to go on the outside of that line a little bit. Just like so. Okay? And you're going to do the same thing over here, just a little bit on the outside of that line. That just gives you a little bit of grace in case you need that little extra room. So we're going to just match corner to corner. And as you notice, I always have my thumb against the thing here. That's usually how I do it. And we're going to do it right here. And you do a little bit at a time. You don't have to dig out a big hunk of it, because you're always going to go back with your knife and do it anyway. But this is just easier than doing the initial stop cut. It's cleaner, and it's a cleaner cut. All right, we'll come right back. Okay, now we have that done. What we're going to do is we're going to, now we have this portion done. We're going to go and we're going to trim. We made our circle at the top, okay, just to round off our corner. So about halfway down, not all the way to the bottom, but about a third of the way down or so, you're just going to take those corners off and start rounding them. All right, we're going to do more in a second because we have to tilt the hat, meaning this way. So all right, so that's what we have so far. Now this, what we're going to do now, we're going to tilt the hat. Now I use this solution of 50% water and 50% rubbing alcohol, the 70% strength. I use that to soak it up to soften the wood a lot of times. So what I'll do is I'll spray this at the top here. You can tell it soaks it up pretty quick. See, it just kind of disappears. Now, one word of caution. If you do this a lot, it can check on you or crack on you at the end when it dries. But if you let it alone for about 3 or 4 days, sometimes it resumes the normal state again. But if it doesn't, you'll have to repair it. And I would tell you about 1 out of every 50, or say 2 out of every 100 will do that. I have not had any problem with this wood doing it. I don't know if sometimes if it's the wood itself, but when you spray the end grains, it gets really wet and it will soak down in. It won't soak in very quickly on the outside, just the end grains it will. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut a little bit off. You see there's a little bit of a tilt on the hat, So let's take care of that. So we're going to go across this way, just straight across, just like so. And we're going to take all that hard stuff off, all that rough stuff, simply because I'm going to name something different. This is actually your knife. It's going to be your sandpaper, because we don't sand anything. When we're done carving it, you're ready to paint it. Once you start sanding it, you'll have to get every crevice and it will look different. So when you have a rough spot like this, it's going to look a lot different than painting on this, which is smooth and clear because of the knife. It will soak in the paint a lot more. So you want to get rid of all the rough areas. Okay, so we're going to go down a little bit further. Okay, that's a little bit more. You want to go down at least 3/8 of an inch or more. So let's see if we're pretty close to where. No, not quite. Let's go down a little further. Okay. So what we're doing is, see, there's a little bit of a hollow. I don't know if you can see that. There's a little bit of a dip there. So we're going to put that in. We have it a little bit already, so I'm going to just start putting that in. A little bit of a dip in the hat. See it? We have a little bit. If I get the chips away from the back, there you can see it. It's a little bit of a dip. So that's what we want. And I'll come down a little further. You take a look at it and see, yeah, I still think I need to come down just a bit more in the back, which I will do. There we go. All right, good. I'm going to just start digging this out. And you don't want it to go too deep, but you want to, so we're going to round it off a little bit more in the back. We lost a little bit of the corners there. So we see how small this is compared to that. We're going to bring it down a little bit ways. So we're just going to trim this back a little bit more on either side at least. Let's see if it's long enough. We're going to go up quite a ways here yet. All right. So you're going to have it more of an oval shape. All right. You kind of have to eyeball it and figure how much you really want to take off of here. Okay. So the next thing, we're going to leave that alone for right now. We're going to go over here and we're going to put another stop cut down here. And we're going to chop that out. Now we're going to go to each side here and we're going to go up. We're going to do a stop cut. All right. Now you can make several passes at this. This is fine. I don't expect you to do it all at one time like I'm doing here. If you're not comfortable about it, you just do a little bit at a time. We're going to take one. I'm going to go down about 1/8 of an inch on either side. All right. And then here in the corners, we're going to go a lot deeper. We're going to do a stop cut here. And we're going to bring this in a little further, just like so. Okay, just like that. And then we're going to round that little corner off. Now, you're not going to get rid of that bump completely. That's part of the hat. So we're going to just kind of blend things in a little bit. Down to the bottom and up to the top. Blend it in. And that's the hat. Okay? So we're going to do each corner that way. So the back, you're going to go in pretty far in the back. make sure you have your gloves on and thumb guards on and all that. Just simply to be careful. I'm going to go ahead and take this rough stuff off. You want to take all the rough stuff off on the flat areas here. You know, as you get your hat done. Now, notice I'm pretty deep there. I'm just going to round this off a little bit and blend that in. I'm not going to make it flat. I want that bump there. Okay, so now we have two sides almost done, and we've got to take this in a little bit more. So let's do that now. And we're going to take that in a little bit more. All right, just like that. Now we have two sides done. We're going to go to this side over here, and we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut it first. And you want about 1/8 of an inch out, okay? Because you're going to have to round this hat off, and it's not going to look right if it's not deep enough. All right? And then you're going to do the front the same way. You're going to do a stop cut. You know, make sure you're following the hat, brim of the hat. You're not going in sideways or this way, straight in, okay? You don't want to cut too much out of that hat. Okay, there we go. Let's see if we can do that again. And there we go. So I'm going to take this hard stuff off really quick. And I'm going to round this up. And this is going to be a lot deeper here yet. We're just going to take some more off here. Because the corners are really the deepest areas for the hat. Because we're going to have to round it, and we're going to have to do a couple other things. But we'll be right back, and we'll continue on the hat. Okay, now we're back again. So what we're doing is we're doing the hat. We did this side over here, and we're going to just trim some of this off here. We want to be mindful how the grain is running all the time. All the time you're thinking how the grain is running and how your knife is going to cut into it. Okay, right here we're going to cut a little bit more off. Okay. And we're going to take this off. So that's kind of where the hat's at right now, okay? We did a little bit in the back. We're going to blend all this in later on. You can do this offline later. I'll work on this. But you want at least 1/8 of an inch on all your brim of the hats on the side, okay? And you want a little bit deeper, of course, at the corner. You want that to pop out really well, okay? So now we have that. We want to go and start the bottom part of the hat. Now, I want you to make the circle like you did here, like I did here. And you want to put a little dot right in the middle. This is the line you do not want to cross when you start cutting it, because you need that point there to be the point here, okay? Or it can be a little bit lower. This looks a little lower, but you don't want to chop it from here off. You want to go in really deep from the top up. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a little V-cut right there, straight in, and we're going to just take a few little cuts out. We're going to follow the hat a little bit on both sides. Alright, just like so. Alright. Now, you're going to do each corner again, just like you did on the top. You're going to follow your line. And you're going to cut from the bottom up. Okay. Then you're going to go over here, and we're going to go straight in. This will curl up a little bit later, and I'll explain that later. So we're going to go straight in, right underneath here. We're going to go down, and we're going to come right up again. Actually, you can actually cut it a little bit. That's fine. Just like that. See, it's curled up already. That's fine. All right, and then we'll do the last side here. Okay, And of course, I'm going to go back to my little V tool and I'm going to follow these lines on the outside. So, just like so. And I'm going with the grain, but if it's sharp enough, you should be able to do either one. This is the 4.5. I use this a lot along with the 3mm V tools. The angle is exactly the same on the 3 as it is on the 4.5. This is just a bigger handle. I do sell both of these separately, or I sell the other V3 in a set. So you can either buy this one or the other one separately, or you can buy the whole set of dockyards that have what I use to do the nose and the ears and you know, different gouges for different things. So there's one gouge in the set. But if you're interested, you have to go back to my website and go to where it says Tools and Basswood picture and click on that, and that will take you to my Square store that I use, and there you can pay with a credit card. Okay. The only place that you'll be able to pay with PayPal is with these videos here, because Square will not work right now with this. So, and that's fine, because some of you have PayPal, some of you don't. All right, so that's what we did. We did all 4 sides. Then I go back to my knife, and I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to come down pretty straight along parallel with the brim of the hat, and I'm going to just take a little piece out, just like so. All right. Now you're going to do the same thing, and in fact, we're going to bring it out a little further. There we go. That's what I want. All right. And then over here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to follow that line, and we're going to come right up. I didn't go far enough with the V cut, but it's okay. There we go. All right. And I'm going to come up a little further and over. All right. So now I'm going to bring this out. Now I'm going to go at the bottom of the nose right now, and I'm going to just chop a little piece out. In fact, I'm going to start doing a little bit at an angle, okay? Like that. All right. Just like that. A V cut. Now we're going to match these two. You see we have the circle. I don't know if you see it. It's a little light. Let me put it back on. There's our circle for the nose, for the carrot. So what we're going to do is we're going to go along there with another knife here, and we're just going to follow that out. You're going to go straight in like you do with looking at straight ahead at it. That's the way you want to stick your knife. You don't want to go sideways. You don't want to go this way. You want to go straight in. And then follow that all the way to the bottom of the nose. And then you're going to do a little bit underneath here, underneath this cap, and you're going to just pop that portion out, hopefully. Okay, right like that. Okay. We're going to go up a little further, like so. And we're going to pop it out again. Okay. And a little bit right there. See? All right. And then let me go back here and look at this a little bit. Let me just clear this up a little bit, because it's really hard for me to see it sometimes. All right, that's one, and then we're going to do the other side. So we're going to follow this. We're going to go straight in again. I'm going to follow this all the way down to the bottom. Perfect. And we're going to go up a little bit into the brim of the hat. That's why I want to leave some room there. So if we don't have room for the eyeball, we're going to make room for the eyeball. All right. Let me just clean this up from back here. Okay, there we go. So that's what we have so far. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and we're going to round off the bottom here a little bit. And we're going to round off each side, each corner on the bottom. All right. Now we're going to bring this up, and we're going to kind of round this up a little bit more. All right. And we're going to take a little bit off the top here yet, underneath the brim of the hat. We're going to take that out a little further with the point of our knife. Okay, see that nose coming? Now we're going to leave that alone. We're going to just bring this up a little bit. We're going to taper it, make it round a little bit from looking from the front of it, rounding it off. And this has to come up a little bit more. All right, now we're going to bring this up a little further. Okay, so there's a little rounding to do on the nose, and we'll be right back. Okay, now I started to do a little cleanup. The nose is a little smaller than I like, but if you make it a little bit larger, you can. All right, so we're going to leave it that way for now. We're going to trim this off a little bit. All right. We're going to go back to the hat, and we're going to trim off this corner all the way around. And one thing about making things look round when you cut it, I'll show you in just a second here. We're going to take off all this rough stuff here. That's all going to go. Let me use this one. It's a lot easier for that. You want to get rid of all that rough stuff everywhere. Okay, and I'll round it off. But you're going to take that little hard edge off all the way around this thing, okay? And then, see, there's another little rough edge. When you cut it off, you're going to take that little edge off again. And that makes it rounded, okay? See, it just automatically takes that hard edge off of there if you just sliver that off. And you do it on both sides of the cut. You know, if you do a flat cut, you do it on one side and then on the other side. All right, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing that here, but you get the idea. So that's the top of the hat's actually done. Except for a couple of things here. I'm going to make sure we have it deep enough before we actually put the band in and stuff. But we've got to round this all up, get rid of all the rough stuff here as well. We're going to continue on the face for now, okay? We have it pretty deep where we want this nose. So I'm going to start making the point on this nose a little more distinct. Okay, just all right, that's it. All right, so you don't have to do a lot to it, but just make sure you have a little pointy nose. All right, let's get rid of that so you can see in the background. All right, so that's how that's done. Now, the fun part is rounding off. So we did the corners, and now we're going to round off the bottom portion. So that's take one sweep off of each side, just like so. Okay, now this back here is not deep enough by any, well, it doesn't have to be too deep anyway, but let's just put a little stop cut there and clean that up. So we're going to put a little stop cut, and we're going to take that out. Now we're going to do another little stop cut over here, and we're going to clean that out. All right, now take a look at this, right? We just want to round this off. If you want to make that stick out a little further, you can, and just round it up like a half circle. All right, you're going to take all this rough stuff off. You're going to take those hard edges off. You're going to round it up, and just keep slicing it until it looks nice and smooth and all together. Okay. That's all you want to do. That's it for the back. All right. Now, the face. This is the fun part. Okay. The face is going. We're gonna come back here a little bit, and we're gonna just go here and here, and we're just gonna take a look at this. We're going to take all this rough stuff off. That's the first thing we're going to do. Okay, we're going to take all this rough stuff off. Try not to dig too deep, but just try to get it off the best you can, because the more of this stuff you get off, the easier it's going to be to paint. I know I sound like a broken record, but that is very, very true. Can't emphasize that enough. And even when I'm done, I go back and there's spots I miss because I didn't see it because of the lighting or something, even when I carve on my own here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to round this up a little bit more. Okay, just round it. Just like so. All right. And we're going to round it. Remember, we're going to take those hard edges off each corner. All right. It still has a little bit of an edge, so we're going to get rid of that. See, now it looks nice and round. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make the cheeks and the eyes. So the eyes will come, let me dig the eyes out a little bit more. Just go down a little bit more here. Okay, you don't want to go any deeper up at the top. You just want to kind of sliver this off down here. It'll make the eye look better. All right. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in first. This is from, let me get rid of that hard edge. I don't like that there. All right. I'm going to put the cheeks in. So the cheeks are going to come out like this and like this. That's it. Okay. We're also going to have a, I lost it there, hang on. I'm also going to have a little bit of a scarf there. So that's, we can just put that around this way. Let's see if there's, it's just basically rounded. All right, just around so. So the first thing I want to do here is to do the scarf. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my V tool and I'm going to go up on that line just to give me an indication where to go. I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to just, and one of the reasons I do this as well is because I want to make sure that these things, the colors don't bleed. If you have it cut like that, a lot of times it won't. So we'll worry about this portion a little bit later. All right, so that's the scarf. We'll worry about that a little bit later here. All right, now that looks way off, so let me redo this. I'm going from the side of the nose, so we're gonna just kind of go up. You don't want to go on the very bottom, so we're just gonna do this, and we're gonna do this. All right, just a little bit of a curvature. All right, so when you get that done, you're going to take your little V tool and you're going to go up towards the nose. I like a little bit of a curvature on this cheek, so we're going to do it this way. And we're going to go this way. Take a look at it. There we go. Always kind of eyeball it because it's very hard to get two sides to match exactly. Of course, there's no nostrils, so we're going to take this portion off underneath it on the bottom part of the cheek. Okay. And we're going to round this off. So let me take this down a little further. And we'll take this down a little bit more. And okay, we'll be right back. Okay, I cleaned it up a bit And what we're going to do is, I did the cheeks a little better, and what you want to do is dig underneath the nose a little more. Let me bring this up a little more so you can see it. Alright, so now I put the eyes in right here. I don't know if you can see that right here. Alright, and right here. Alright, so that's where the eyes are going to go. Now you can use the V tool or you can use your knife. I use a little V tool. If the eye is big enough, I'll use a V tool. If the eye is too small, I will use a knife. So I'm just going to follow that line. One. I'm going to use a knife anyway, but this gives me an idea. Alright, there's one, and here's the other. And you're just going to make it deeper, that's all. Let's take the knife, and I'm going to spray it because I find that when you start doing this real intricate stuff, you want it to cut easily, and spraying it works really well for that. So what we're going to do is go from here, and you're just going to cut alongside that, and you're just going to cut that little corner out a little bit, and you know, you're just going to round the eyeball up. Just like so. Alright. So let me take a look at it back here. I can get a better judge if I did this right or not. And I did. Okay. So that's one eye. And then we'll do the other eye. And then I'll just take that hard edge off here to the eyeball. So that's how you put the eyes in. Alright? You got your cheeks in, you got your eyes in. Now we're going to put the mouth in, which is this little thing right here. And you're just going to go ahead and use your V tool to make the cut. That's it. One. And if you want to make that a little bit, I like them smiling, so I have a curvature. You can have them looking grumpy if you want, but that's how that works. Now, the brim of the hat. I'm going to spray it again, and all the hard stuff, all this rough stuff is going to come off first. This is what I usually do. Just take it and sliver it off. And then what you want to do is you want to do each corner. You're going to round off each corner a little bit, and I'll show you that in a second. Let me just get this all done here, or close to being done. Alright, 1 and 2 and one more. Alright, now you're going to round this off. You're going to take that point off. Okay, you're just going to round it just a little bit. You don't need to do a lot, just like that. Okay, I don't know if you can see how rounded it is there. There you go. See, it's pointy there. I'm going to bring this hat down a little bit more later on before I do my last video. We'll show you exactly. So we're going to just take those points off the hat to make it look like it's rounded. And you don't have to take a lot off, okay? You don't want to take a lot off. Otherwise you'll lose that shape of that hat. Okay, so that's what that looks like. And then you're going to take off. You're going to do one sweep like this, and do one from the bottom, and then you're going to get rid of those hard edges to make it look round like I said earlier. There's a little hard edge here, so I'm going to just go over this a little bit and smooth it out, and then same thing over here. And then you're going to go right over the top, right down. You can do one side all the way around if you want. You're just going to take that hard edge off. Now, if it doesn't look deep enough here, you can just go a little bit deeper if you need to. But this looks okay to me right now. Okay, and then we're going to go up this way. And this way. And we're going to do the top section. All the way around. And that's what you do. Let's do the front here. I'll show you. Okay, you took the top off, took the second part off. Now you're just going to round it a little bit. Get rid of those hard edges everywhere. If this isn't a little bit too deep for you, then you just, go in a little bit at an angle and make it deeper. All right. It looks like the hat, like the face is underneath the hat. All right. Let me get rid of that. And so that's how the hat's done. I'm gonna go offline. I'm gonna work on this a bit, trim this down a bit more because it's kind of thick compared to this one. So what I'm gonna do is just come down here and I'm just gonna trim some of this off here and some of it on the bottom here, where we have to put the brim of the. We have to put that that little ribbon around the top of the hat. That's going to be a little bit of a challenge, so we're going to do that one after we're done here. All right, so that's where we're at. We'll be right back. Okay, I trimmed down the hat a little bit more, and what we're going to do now is, I don't know if you can see it, I have here, I've got a few this is going to be this part of the hat that you see. So what I do is I draw a line about 1/8 of an inch or a little bit better, 3/16. I go all the way around. Then I take my nifty difty little B tool, and right here is where the holly is going to be. All right, so we want to kind of avoid this for right now. Okay, you'll see. We're going to take this and we're going to go all the way around. All the way around, and then you're going to score it, or you're going to define your cut there, and you're going to go all the way around again with a stop cut after you get this done. Now we're going to go straight across this, and that's okay to do. All right, just go all the way around. Alright, just like so. After you get that done, what you're going to do is you're going to take your knife and you're going to score it, or put your stop cut all the way around. You notice I'm rotating my piece more than I'm rotating my hand around it. Just a lot easier that way. Okay? And then you're going to cut from the top off. You're going to just clean that all up. Okay? Alright, you're going to clean this all up. Like this. Alright, you're going to do all this all the way around. And here you're not going to do too much there where that holly is supposed to be. Alright. And then you're going to trim this all out. You're going to go back over it and you're going to make sure that it blends in nicely, okay, with it. You're not going to have all these hard edges. It's going to look like it's tucked underneath that ribbon. And then the ribbon will have a little hard line too. You want to take that off. Go around, trim that off so it looks so it doesn't have any hard edges. And then over here, we're going to take the V tool again, the smaller one, and I'm going to just go down 1, 2, and 3, and I did a little zigzag up here. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, so that little zigzag doesn't look quite right to me, so I'm going to fan this out. It's like a little crown. All right, just like so. I'm going to take my little V tool. Actually, I won't take the V tool on that. I'm going to take my knife and I'm just going to go 1. I'm going to cut those corners really well. And I'm going to just cut that flush with the, just like so. Okay, so that should stick out like that. When you have that done, you just want to put little lines across it, just like so. All right, that's the leafy part of the holly, and you can go all the way into there. There we go. And then this here, oh, this is a little tricky. All you need to do is take those corners out to make it look round. Okay, just take those corners out. And that takes a little bit of time. You take one corner out. See? There you go. There it is. And there's the holly. And then I'll round them up when I get offline a little bit more, and I'll clean this all up. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to come down here, and we're going to, if I can bring that up nice and close, I'll show you. I don't know if you can see, this is the scarf. Again, I'm going to use my V tool. I'm just going to make the markings 1, 2, 3, and from the face over 4. All right. And then I go back and I just clean everything up with making sure that this part looks like it's going over top of this. All right. All right, so, and now we have these little folds. All that is taking your big V tool and going across like this. One, get nice and deep. Do another one here. Same thing over here. You just want a little bit of a, all right. That's all that's to it, and if you want to extend it out a little further, you can bring it out a little further. All right, and then I round those corners a little bit. And then I'll come with my very last video when everything's done and cleaned up to show you what it looks like and how to paint it. All right, so we're almost done. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, this is our last video. I'll explain how I did this as far as painting is concerned. What you do is you do the white on the face, and I do it over the nose, and then I use orange for the nose. I use the dark gray, blue, black, and the white dot for the eyeball. And then I use a dark blue with little dots of white for the scarf and the top of the hat, the ribbon around the hat. Of course, red and green for the top, for the holly portion, black for the hat, of course, and then I do the little rosy cheeks. I mix a little red, a little white, and I kind of dry brush the cheeks on. So that's what we have here, and I hope you enjoyed this project, and thank you very much for supporting me here on the Carver's Woodshop. I do appreciate it.